Hi, I'm Hugh, and over the last semester of the Innovative Business Practice Unit, I've had the opportunity to locate and evaluate my strengths, define and work on my weaknesses, build a stronger network, and dive into what makes teamwork so important. So, let's take a walkthrough of what I hope my resume will look like in the future with my current job title listed at the bottom. I want to progress through the Optus channels as I really do love the business and the inner workings behind the scenes. My goal is to work through into human resources to eventually lead that department. Now, let's check out the Me and My Strengths video. For this task, I focused on the unfortunate timing of a long-term hospitalization during what should have been the year that I graduated high school. This experience may seem like it would have had a negative effect on me, and at the time it did, but I've come around on this and I realized through this course that it has actually provided me a lot of benefit, and I have grown some skills that I otherwise would never have formed. One of these skills is tenacity. I could easily have accepted that I would amount to nothing after not completing high school, but instead I dove straight into work as a sales associate at Optus, and within a year there I'd risen to the title of store manager, where I managed the highest percent to target store in the country. And within another year from that, I had developed the OPTUS sales framework. This is now in place in every single store and call center at Optus, and it stands for Open, Probe and Prospect, Tailor the Solution, Unique Experience, and Secure the Sale. Within a year of this, I stepped up to an administrative role and now have over 100 employees that report to me across 10 stores in my franchise. The single most important skill I have learnt is to eat my tofu, taking ownership of a problem and following up with it. This is a reminder essentially to yourself that if you say you will do something, you better do it. This has saved me countless negative reactions and creates positive experiences for everyone. Let's take a look at the VIA, or Values in Action Strength Score. The Value in Action Strength Score profile is a tool that allows us to identify our strongest and weakest skills, some of which surprise me. My top strength here is love, which I would absolutely agree with, followed by perspective, humor, humility, and bravery. None of these came as much of a surprise to me, and these strengths are important to me for my future self with my goal of being a father. Love, bravery, and humor are bound to be vital in raising children to be strong and independent, as well as funny because I'll have to crack a couple dad jokes every now and then. The weakest scores, however, did surprise me. I agree with spirituality being down there. I'm not much of a spiritual man myself, but love of learning being so close to the bottom did surprise me. Forgiveness, self-regulation aren't too much of a surprise either, and I believe the way in which I interpreted the questions caused fairness to be last, as I would treat my partner differently to my friends or a stranger there. Now, if we have a look at the strength spotting scale here, in my work, it's vital that I'm able to spot strengths and weaknesses in my staff members, hence the ability score there being at 100%. This is something I actively work on as well. I believe my application of strength spotting still has a ways to go, hence the lower score there. Now, if we reflect back on what we've just gone through over the last 3 and a bit minutes together, I can safely say that I now know what I need to work on to become a great leader for my future self. I know I need to work on my forgiveness and my fairness so as to unbiasedly manage a team. This is something I've struggled with over the last year, as some of my employees were or are still very close friends of mine. Treating what is effectively a stranger and then close friends with the same expectations has been challenging, but has also helped me to learn and grow. Let's move on to the networking component, starting off with a network map from week 4 in this semester. We can see that here I have Teague Fisher and Steve Savitas with the yellow triangles next to them, meaning they're an aspirational connection. Teague is one of the members of SLT in my franchise, and I've yet to have contact with him. Steve is already a member of my strategic circle, but I would like to put him into the personal section as well, as we get along quite well. Now, if we have a look at week 12's networking map, we can see that both of these goals were accomplished. I'm pretty proud of myself for it. I contacted Teague right after class, week 4's class, to have a catch up in person over some coffee to discuss work, and we actually get along quite well. I would like to move him to my personal circle like I did with Steve. Found that the easiest way to do this was to meet up consistently under the guise of work meetings, conduct the work that was needed, and then spend 10 to 15 minutes just discussing life and anything other than work, and that eventually leads to a friendship. We can see a new set of friends in the personal section as well, with Angie, Rashmi, and Nick, and a longer list of staff that I can confidently say I know very well personally. I'd like to expand this list in the future to include all of the staff I work with, but this will take a very long time. My other goal here that I've put in is to find a friendship group at university, and also to meet the CEO of Optus and the Victorian head of Optus. I think that the networking skills I've learned are vital to my future self, as a strong network opens doors for me that would otherwise be closed, allowing me to stay on track towards my goal. Speaking of that, let's move to my future LinkedIn profile. I want to be the VP of Human Resources at Optus. Now, if we take a look at the teamwork feedback we received from assignment 2, we can see that I got a couple nice comments there, and then almost all 100s on the markings there, except for interactions, which I think can be because I can be quite blunt sometimes. Now, what did I learn about working in a team? The most important thing I've learned about working in a team is in-person meetings. My dad always used to get on a plane in the morning, go to a meeting, and come back. And I always thought that was just insane of him. But after having proper, structured in-person meetings, I can now confidently say I fully understand why he did that. It makes the quality of the work so much better, and the speed of the work so much better. Now, let's move to the commitment and action plan. So, my goal is to meet the CEO of Optus and establish a business relationship with her. That's a pretty far-fetched goal, but I have a plan in action to do that there. So what makes this goal so hard? Well, I mean, it's not every day that you meet the CEO of the company you work for, especially a company as well known and a household name as Optus. What happens if I take no action to achieve this goal? If I don't do anything about this, there is a very, very, very slim chance I will ever meet the CEO of Optus. She doesn't just come around all the time, visit all the stores, because she'd have to visit all 500 of them, which would be almost impossible for her. What's the easiest step to start with here? Well, the easiest step to start with is to send an email off to her and express an interest to meet. After this, depending on whether I receive a response or I don't, if I don't, I'll email the people under her and express an interest to meet them, and if I do, I'll obviously structure my time around her. My long-term goal is to use this new connection to open the doors to a HR position within the organisation. This will take quite some time and will require me to complete university first, so I've not listed a date here for this one. This will therefore require me to keep in contact with Miss Bayer Rosmarin over the coming years, with the goal of strengthening that contact. In summary, the skills I've learnt regarding working in a team, networking, and my personal strengths will be invaluable over the coming years of my career, as well as my personal life. Thank you very much.